Welcome to Civic Platform. This is your host Zuhair Al-Musri. Many immigrants that have high university degrees and long years of experience are faced with unemployment in Winnipeg. We are going to interview Maggie Demarchi, the president of the Brazilian Association in Winnipeg, Manitoba, to get more information on this topic. Let's jump right in. Hello, Maggie. How are you?
Hi, Zoher. Great, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Welcome to Civic Platform.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for accepting my invitation.
A great pleasure.
So, first of all, congratulations on 200 years of Brazilian state.
Yes, it's 200 and it won't happen again until 200 years from now. So it's a great time to be here to celebrate.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's something now visible for us to see unemployed with higher degrees in Winnipeg. This is something really frustrating for a newcomer. So before we begin, let the audience know who are you and what are you doing.
I am Maggie Demarchi. I am currently president of the Brazilian Association in Winnipeg. We are a new association. We started like in 2018. So most of our time has been during COVID, and we are not very known even within our own community, but we are always trying to gather the community and do things for them.
Okay, great. So why the graduates from outside of Winnipeg, they face a lot of difficulty to find a job in their field in Winnipeg?
There are a couple of reasons, but one thing that many newcomers don't understand, and it's not complicated to understand, is you came here from another country and you are highly educated, but the people here don't know you. The companies will look at your resume. This is school, I don't know. This employer, I don't know.
Oh.
So you have no reference that are local references. So you are highly educated in your profession, but it doesn't have any meaning here.
Yeah, you're right.
This is disturbing for many people, but it's understandable.
Yeah.
Now, there are many things that you can do about it. And the main one, if your profession is not regulated, because there are a few problems. For example, you may be in a profession that is highly regulated, and you have to be in the standards that profession has here, and they have to know that. They have to test you. They have to verify that your profession is equivalent, and you have certain standards. So you may have to go to several processes to certify yourself here. So this is very difficult in some professions, right? So that's one barrier. The other thing, it may, even for people whose profession is not regulated or highly regulated, is that simply they don't know you, right?
Yeah.
And nobody knows you. And how would they trust you to do something when you're like an alien, right?
Yeah.
So it's very, very important. The most important thing is that you create your network here. People need to know you, so you can be given an opportunity to start. And you have to be willing to start somewhere, not necessarily at the position that you were.
Yeah. So we hear about many of doctors, engineers, pharmacists, dentists, for example. They face a lot of a problem with like qualify their degrees in Winnipeg or in Canada in general. So why it's still complicated from your experience and from your community? Why what kind of complicated process they face?
In some professions, we perceive, based on what we hear from the community, we perceive that the barriers, they are created purposefully to prevent the number of professions in certain areas to grow here. And based on what I hear, dentists, for example, is one of them. And it's not only from my community. We have actually a good number of Brazilians who work in the area of dentistry, but we hear this from several communities, especially in this area. Is like there is a protection of the market, a protection for the people who study here. And even in Manitoba, is not even from other countries only. If you studied outside of Manitoba, you may have this challenge. There is like a strong barrier for people from outside to get into the market here. And it's a way for a profession. And if you look closely, like the people who regulate the profession, the people who regulate the organization that look over those professionals, they are professionals. They want to protect their income, right? That's the plain way to see. They want to protect their professions, and they don't want tons of people to be doing what they do because they keep their clientele, right? Now, is that the same with the medical profession? Because it's so hard. We hear all the time, we need physicians. We need so much, but it's so hard for the physician to actually be approved to be a physician here. I know a long list of physicians who are working, who are trying to get into the profession, who are doing what they require, but it's difficult. You have like, I have friends with 40 years of experience, right? Yeah. And they are young. They just started early and they get here and they basically have to go to school again. So they have to leave behind all this experience because it's useless here. Now, what is sad that I hear a lot from the communities that they were approved to come to Canada or recruited to come to Canada because of the level of education in their family, in their household, but they come here and their education is worthless, and that is disturbing. And we hear this from a variety of professions.
I see. So, like, it's everyone from us like to start working with his experience, because this is the things what he knows, or what what he did in his like whole life before. And now when he come to Winnipeg, and he start to work for a supermarket or restaurants, so this is like a huge gap between what he knows and what he is doing right now. So maybe that make him mentally not feeling well. So can you share some stories from your community, for example, how these people feeling when they are doing something like that?
I can share from my community and from other communities. This is very pervasive. I remember one lady who came here. She was a physician back home, and her husband owned a printing company. Okay. And when they came here and they left business behind, a good life, and they moved here because of their children. They had small children and they wanted to provide a better life for them. And most of the newcomers have a story like that. They came because of their children. They sacrificed the level of lifestyle, the lifestyle they had there, to restart here because of their children. And I remember sometimes we would meet and she was deeply depressed. She was working in a supermarket and her husband was working in a printing shop in the first degree of the entry level. And she would tell me, why am I doing this? I don't need that. And she would cry and she got in deep depression. And she went back home to visit to see if that would make her feel better. And I actually don't know where they are right now, if they came back, if she's here, what she's doing. And she wanted to become a doctor here, and I know she went back to do whatever they required. But I remember her story. I will never forget. I will never forget that specific person. But I encounter lots of stories like that, right? Some have a better ending, right? I remember another lady that she worked in a very high profession in her profession. It was technical profession, not in health sciences. And she had her own company. She built huge stuff there, and she was responsible for doing all the projects, all the financing. And she had to work in a supermarket, and the people who oversaw her treated like checking if she could do a simple math, add some kind of thing in the cashier, as a cashier, and I was overseeing if she was doing the math proper. And it was so humiliating. And I remember she couldn't speak her language, even if the customer spoke her language. They would say, you can't speak in their language, even if they are speaking with you in their language. And it was so frustrating for her. And after a year or so, she was invited to work in her profession. She didn't have to take any programs or anything. Somebody who knew her, saw her portfolio, her capability, invited her to work in her profession. So this makes me think it is possible. It is possible for you to come here and go to your profession, but we needed to have a system that would help the people to get there, help people to be known here, to be able to be identified as that kind of professional. Since we are bringing people here, we could have a system to help them to get to their level, because they are needed, right? Their skills are useful, are needed here, but nobody knows. But the government brought them here. They had to pass tests. They have to be investigated. So somebody somewhere in the immigration whole system knows of these people. Maybe they could make a program to help them. And I know there were some programs in the past. I don't know what is in place now. I only hear the experience of people mostly sharing their difficulties and their challenges. Maybe we need to find the people who went through the process and made it, so other people can be educated on those processes. What we educate people about in our community a lot is the importance of networking, the importance of knowing people, right? Like your own experience. You knew somebody, and that helped you to get where you wanted. And we educate them about that. We need maybe to find programs and educate them more about those programs. The programs that we know, they help people to certify themselves in their professions here. Some of them don't seem fair. One thing that I try to do already and connected with some people is to get people who already passed through the process to share their experience going through the process with others, so they can do it. But I think important would be for the regulators, the government, the people who are able to make decisions, to identify, listen to these people and identify, okay, what can we do different, right? Because the people that go through identify things that are unnecessary, barriers that shouldn't exist, right? And they could then make the changes. And I think this is the piece missing. The regulators need to identify, hearing from people who go through the process, what are the barriers that barriers that shouldn't exist.
There is some info, some fact. It's a funny fact, but it's real, and it's happened for many of newcomers. I remember when some of newcomers, before they arrive to Canada, when they think to apply to immigrant to Canada, Everyone told them it will be difficult. You don't have anybody there. You don't have like enough English. You will face a lot of challenge. And they say, no problem. Let us go there. And there we can solve it. Anything there better than what we are facing here. Okay. So once they arrive to Canada, they enjoy the weather, sometimes the snow. They have like a vacation for like first month. Then the real life coming. Now you have to find a job. It's not easy. Your English not that good. So why the people they accept this kind of challenge, even though they understand what they are waiting them there. So, and now when they are here, they complain about everything, about the system and about everything. We don't know how we are very down. So you have been here like at 22 years, and you hear about many of these stories. So how you make that these people like feeling good, or make them remember, you remember, you accepted in the beginning, so this is a really confusing sometimes for me. Like, you accepted in the beginning and now you are feeling not happy or frustrating and disappointed. So what do you think about this fact?
Well, first, I think that many people don't get the true story before they come.
Okay.
Maybe the people who are selling the dream
Yeah.
are not showing the part of the dream that is like a nightmare.
I
right?
see. Yeah.
So some people sell that come to Canada. It's all flowers, right? It's all good.
Yeah.
Right? There are challenges. I think if people are aware of the challenges, they will face them better. And some people come knowing, because nowadays there are lots of people telling a little bit of the struggles that they have. And there are lots of people showing the path, right? Showing the stones, where to step to make through, right? Sometimes people don't speak up more about their challenges because they don't want to sound like complaining, right? A lot of times they face problems and they face them alone because they don't want to be the complainers, and they don't want to hear exactly what you're saying. Well, you sign up for that, baby. Sometimes they didn't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're really sold in a big dream, a wonderful dream. And I still think is a beautiful dream and is worth it. And for most of the people that I hear that they have a lot of challenge, they still believe that it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there. They have hope. And sometimes they look back and, like you said, they see what they left behind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sometimes what they left behind is really dark, right? Yeah. And I have heard from people that left their wonderful, beautiful country that they miss because they were in the middle of war, or they were kidnapped. Yeah. I know people who were kidnapped from my country, and those kind of kidnapping that you were putting in a place hidden, and and with a bag on your head so you cannot see where you are. Those terrible stories. And they tell me, I will never go back to Brazil again, right? Because I just can't go there again, right? And I know people that had different experience in other countries like that. And sometimes people look back and they say, I want just a better life. I remember a couple, they were wonderful. They lived very, very good life back in Brazil. And here, the light in their eyes when they say, the greatest thing that I have here is my girls can go to school walking by themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that a simple thing that defines happiness for a family?
Yeah.
The safety to go to school alone, holding their hands, crossing the street, safe.
Yeah.
That in some places of the world, it's not conceivable. It's too dangerous, right? So I think that we constantly remind people why they came here, right? The kids, a better life for the kids, safety, right? Lack of corruption, the inexistence of corruption, although we know that this is not the case. There is problems everywhere, but people want some security in their lives, safety that they find here, right? And I think if they are told the true story about the importance of speaking English, like I speak about this all the time with people who wants to come here. Study English before you come. Without English, it's going to be more difficult, and sometimes just one partner speaking English they come and it's already enough for them. But it's a big problem. It's a big issue.
It takes me to make to list a step for the people before coming to Canada to prepare themselves. So first of all, you said they have to improve their English even before they are arrived to Canada. What else they have to do before, and what they have to do after they arrive to make like a short road for them to reach their dream job or dream life?
They have to do their search before about the companies, about where the professions are, what is required for their professions here, what the companies look for here. And I think essential is the culture in the workplace here. People need to know that they need to adapt when they are here. I have seen people that, two similar people, one going ahead very fast because of their attitude, and others, they couldn't go ahead, couldn't find a place stable and grow and get an opportunity because of their attitude. So some stuff of the culture of the local here, the local culture, about the culture in the workplace, you need to know about how people live here. Like not only the resume, that you don't write in your resume that you are single or you are married or you have kids, these things, or put your picture, right? This simple technical aspect of the resume, but the culture, the other soft skills they need to be able to adapt and to be able to get well in the marketplace. The soft skills are fundamental, that they learn about those things before they come here. And I believe the government had here before the entry program, they would discuss all of that. And then they have the pre-arrival, that they can learn about this when they get when they are immigrated and they get the permanent residency. Before they come, they can enter. There's a program called SOPA. They can enter in this program and attend lessons about these things while they are still in their country, right? So that's helpful. So English, the culture in the workplace especially, and they have to have money. They have to save. They have to come here with more money than they first thought. Like if you made a budget that you would need that much, double that, because you don't know the issues that you're gonna face. Sometimes people I work with real estate, so they ask me a lot about rental and the budget to live here, and they want so much for $1,000 rent. They won't get it, right? They won't get it. Like, you want what you have in mind or the lifestyle that you have back home, be ready to $2,000 to $2,500 rent, right? So you have to have money. The other thing is that you plan that you're going to come. Students, I hear this a lot with students that immigrate here through the pathway that start with school and college, right? They plan for 3 months of English, and then they get into the college and they go to work. And when they get here at the border, the guy say, okay, I'm not gonna give you the work permit for your spouse right now. You have to wait until to go to college to get that. So you plan to get here and work. And then you realize you cannot go get here and work. Right? If you don't have a permit for that. And then you plan for 3 months, and we go to college, and the college say, okay, well, your English is not that good, so you have to do 6 months. So all that planning, that financial planning goes down the hill, right? So money, English, and get ready for the bumps of cultural adaptation, right? You have to do a little bit of search about the cultural adaptation, especially in the workplace.
And they can also build their network before they arrive to Canada. Now LinkedIn, it's open, like open the whole world. You can introduce yourself for employer, for some friends, build your network before you arrive. That's now it will be more easier than before, right?
Yes, much more. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool nowadays. I know lots of people who have got positions here before coming through LinkedIn, and I am seeing more and more people coming here already in good positions in the workplace. Of course, in IT especially, and in other professions, administrative and some other skilled workers. Of course, there are professions that you have to go through a process of certification, but if that's not the case, LinkedIn has been a fantastic tool for people to get jobs here before they arrive here.
So this is like our message for a newcomer, and how they build themselves before and during they arrive to Canada, and how should they be patient until they reach their goals. So if now we want to send a message for the employers to give like a little bit chance for this person, he can improve himself, but he need like some times to give you like a full production, exactly what you are looking for. So how we can send a message for the employer to give a chance for that person who can improve himself, like maybe he need like couple of months or maybe he can pay him like a minimum wage, for example, just for the beginning, to give him like a training, then he can be like a good member in his company. How you can, what you can say about this?
Sorry, you just got me because I
Yeah.
haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. We have to think about a solution, right?
Yeah.
What would we tell the employers? Just to give us a chance? It's not enough. We have to have a message for them.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe I gotta think. Maybe should be our part. Like I represent a Brazilian association. Maybe should be something that my organization and other organization that works with newcomers could do is to make a bridge with the employers, and we voice our new people with the employers and tell, look, you should look at our community, we should look at our people, and maybe make like a bridge, right? And the employers could give more opportunity if they had someone vouching for those people, and someone like presenting those people to them. So I see like a role for maybe our organizations to do something like that. And what the employers could do is maybe look for us too. Like we should start looking for them, and maybe they should look for us, because I always tell people, I always said before coming here to this country, when you work for yourself. You are employed of a company, you are an employee of a company, you are employed by them, but you work for yourself because it's your face that is there. People will see you, the colleagues, the customers, the boss, the owner. And if you're doing a good thing, they will see it. I remember one guy here, a newcomer. He worked in home sales. He worked as a cashier, a simple job, but he's a highly educated professional in his field, right? And he was just the same thing he brought to his profession that made hundreds of clients to look for his service. He was a professional back there in the health field. And he kept all that way of dealing with people, working as a cashier at HomeSense. And there was a lady who always went to that cashier and talked to him. And she felt like he was different.
Yeah.
And one day she called him and said, I see, and talked more about him and found out what he did back home, what was his position all his life. And one day she went there and got her card and said, call me, I have a better job for you. And he now works, she was the director of a government organization, and he's working there now. And all the time that I talk to him, I was promoted. So he's going up the ladder because of who he is, because that's what he brings to whatever job. Even that guy, if you are a janitor or if you're a cashier, whatever you would be doing, he would bring that. And that's why I say you work for yourself all the time, because whatever you do, people will see. The way that you do, people will see your attitude, right? So I derailed from the question. I don't even know how we got here, but I think there is a message that the people need to remember. They cannot lose hope, right? They have to do the best they can, the best they can offer. And if they want to pursue their profession, time will come, maybe they will, right?
Maggie Demarchi, the president of the Brazilian Association in Winnipeg, thank you very much to being with me in Civic Platform. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and your story, it's very unique and helpful. Thank you for all your advices. I hope it's like a useful episode for our followers and who's watching your video. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zoher.
And here we have reached the end of our video. We hope you enjoyed it and gained new helpful information. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to see our upcoming episodes.